Yes, sir.
Call this meeting to order. City of Groves, notice of a regular meeting of the Groves or the City Council Chamber, Groves City Hall, February 28th, 2022 at 5 p.m. to 5 p.m.
I like that.
That's a PM and agenda added together. If you're taking notes, 5 p.m. Would you all rise for prayer and pledge? Councilmember duties, please.
Father, in the name of Jesus, I pray for the wisdom for City Marshal Reynolds and Fire Chief Lance and all of our department heads. I pray, God, for the protection of our police, our firemen, our employees, and all of our military. I ask you, Lord, that you would give unto all of them the wisdom of God and the protection of Psalm 91. I thank you, Father, that you give the wisdom that we need to City Council to make the good decisions for Groves and the proper decisions for Groves. And I thank you, Lord, that we are protected by Psalm 91. And I thank you that all of the citizens of Groves are blessed in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, City Clerk, please.
Mayor Warren,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Dugas,
here.
Councilmember McAdams,
Here.
Councilmember Oliver,
Here.
Councilmember Vincent.
Here. All right, and at this time, we're going to change over and we're going to, for Groves, Texas, the final public hearing, Texas Department of Agricultural, CDBG 7219179 Sewer Improvements Project, February 28th, 2022 at 5:05 p.m. We're going to hand it over to Susan Stover.
Thank you, Mayor.
The purpose of this public hearing is that it is a Texas Department of Agriculture requirement as part of the grant that you received. The City of Groves applied for a CDBG grant in February of 2019 for the 2019-2020 funding cycle through the Texas Department of Agriculture Community Development Block Grant Program. A public hearing for community input was held prior to the application on December 12, 2018, and 7 people were in attendance at this public hearing. A resolution to submit the application was adopted by City Council on February 4th, 2019. This included the approval of a $275,000 grant application with a $106,233 local contribution. The city was awarded the $275,000 grant from TDA. The contract start date was January 1st, 2020, and the contract end date December 31st of 2021. The project involved replacement of approximately 3,191 linear feet of sewer lines and manholes along West Parkway, Dave, and Lackey. The project was bid and awarded to CZ Construction. Additional street repair work ancillary to the sewer line replacement was procured by a small purchase and awarded to LD Construction. And this work was completed in December of 2021. All work has now been completed within the contract end date and all invoices have been paid. Once this hearing is complete, the closeout for this contract will be submitted to the state. And with your permission, if I stand aside, I'll entertain any questions that the public may have. Questions?
Do we have any questions for Ms. Stover?
That's it.
We can close the public hearing
Sign that.
and I can sign. Okay. All right, public hearing will now be closed. And this one. We're back on track. I'd like to welcome everybody to tonight's meeting. Item 4 will be approve the minutes of the February 14th, 2022 city council meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the February 14th, 2022 city council meeting.
I'll second. A motion and second for the approval of the minutes of the February 14th, 2022 city council meeting. Are there any questions? Any questions? Seeing no questions, vote on the motion. Mayor votes aye. Mayor Pro Tem Dugas.
Aye.
Councilmember Oliver.
Aye.
Councilmember Vincil.
Aye.
Councilmember McAdams.
Aye.
Motion passes. Item 5 will be presentations and proclamations. We do have a proclamation. I need to go down there. It's a long one too, y'all bear with it.
Bring your water.
Give me a chair.
I think there's someone here that received that too, Mayor.
Yeah, you told me her name already.
Rebecca,
Rebecca Ledford. You get to stand up here too.
Wendy.
I think so. We had two
Oh,
more too.
absolutely. Come on up.
I'm Taylor Shelton, the secretary for the Normal Red Cross, and
Pete Delacruz, I serve on the board for the Red Cross.
All right. City of Groves, Texas, Office of the Mayor Proclamation. Whereas in times of crisis, people in the Red Cross Southeast and Deep East Texas chapter come together to care for one another. This humanitarian spirit is part of the foundation of our community, and it's exemplified by American Red Cross volunteers and donors. And whereas in 1881, Clara Barton founded the American Red Cross, turning her steadfast dedication for helping others into a bold mission of preventing and alleviating people's suffering. Today, more than 140 years later, we honor the kindness and generosity of Red Cross volunteers here in Groves, who continue to carry out Clara's life-saving legacy. They join the millions of people across the United States who volunteer, give blood, donate financially, or learn vital life-preserving skills through the Red Cross. And whereas in Groves, the contributions of local Red Cross volunteers give hope to the most vulnerable in their darkest hours, whether it's providing emergency shelter, food, and comfort for families devastated by local disasters like home fires, hurricanes, and tropical storms, or donating essential blood for accident and burn victims, heart surgery and organ transplant patients, and those receiving treatment for leukemia, cancer, or sickle cell disease. Another wonderful thing the Red Cross does is support service members and veterans, along with their families and caregivers, through the unique challenges of military life. The Red Cross also helps to save the lives of others with first aid, CPR, and other skills. And whereas their work to prevent and alleviate human suffering is vital to the strengthening of our community's resilience, we dedicate this month of March to all those who continue to advance the noble legacy of the American Red Cross founder, Clara Barton, who lived by her words, "You must never think of anything except the need and how to meet it." We ask others to join in this commitment to give back in our community. And now, therefore, I, Chris Bourne, as mayor of the city of Groves, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the laws of Groves, Jefferson County, and Texas, do hereby proclaim March 2022 as Red Cross Month. I encourage all citizens of Groves to reach out and support its humanitarian mission. In witness whereof, my hand and the seal of City of Groves, this 28th day of February 2022.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, sorry.
Give us that. Take a quick photo. here.
Absolutely.
Photo op. Sure. Kind of a mug shot.
on three. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you, sir.
One more time. 1, 2, 3.
All right, and thank y'all for
Thank you very
everything.
much. We appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right. Item 6, we reports and citizen comments. We have 2 or number 3, reports. First will be the presentation of the 2021 UCR and IBRS report. City Marshal Norman Reynolds.
All right, Mayor, Council, again, this is the 2021 UCR crime report stats. I've attached a UCR crime comparison chart on the back of these 2 sheets. And this is, it begins in 2002 and continues through 2021. So we have a 20-year total there. The UCR crimes decreased from 415 last in 2020 down to 301 for a difference of 114 crimes. These major crimes that we're talking about, as always, are murder, rape, robbery, aggravated assault, burglary, theft, and auto theft. They're all down with the exception of the rape category. The last 2 years have been a record-breaking year for a lot of cities across the state. For Groves, we're back to 20 years ago on this comparison. I can only imagine we probably have to go back to the 60s to get down to that number again. That's got to be definitely a record. Why these numbers are so low, I don't really know. I think some people suggest that it's because of the COVID and, people were locked down, businesses were closed, and people just had less of an opportunity to commit some of these crimes. And then others have implied that maybe the way in which things have been reported for the last couple of years, that people may have not, reported offenses as readily as they normally do. But again, this is the second page. You can look back and see the comparison for every year. I will comment if you'd like on the category that is up on rape. Let's see, what was it from last year to the other year? 18. It was several from 17 to 6. But I went back and I looked at all of those cases, and of course, there's a few of them I can't comment on because they're pending cases. But we had a lot of cases that were, one, for instance, 3 of these were committed by one individual. I've got a few of them that the DA's office just refused. One of them that happened up around Dallas, and so we referred them up to Dallas way. There was one that was a child, and it was mistaken as a sexual assault, turned out to be a medical issue. And then, but in any case, what I want to point out too is each of these victims, they with the exception of maybe one, it was in a motel here, and we're not sure about that. They knew the people that offended against them. And in other words, they weren't coming out of one of our supermarkets or somewhere and attacked in the parking lot and drug off, or, anything like that. Most of this stuff all happens, has happened in the home, and they're familiar with the person who committed the offense.
Yeah, question for you, Marshall, if you don't mind. Just briefly, how close were you to full employment of all positions at the police department through this entire year?
Let's see, we
I mean,
got
out of
to-
12 months, how long do you
Yeah.
think we were shorthanded, if any,
well, shorthanded throughout.
throughout?
Yeah, we got as close as to being one from being fully staffed. Currently, we are, of course, we're at full staff, we're 23. Currently, we're at 21, not counting, no, I like it, I'm sorry, 22. Because I have a young man in training right now. He's finished academy and he's about 4 or 5 weeks into his 18-week training. So I'm down one. I've got an individual that, assuming that he passed the test, he just retired from the military yesterday. We're gonna sponsor him through the academy starting August 1st. So, but however, I have another officer who's in college right now, and I think we're gonna lose him. He's going for sign language, and I think come about May, he's probably gonna start full-time. And really hate to lose him, final officer, but that's where we're at. So we're looking for another one, basically, right now.
City Marshal,
Yes, ma'am.
you said this number 17 for rapes.
Mhm.
You said 3 of them were by one person.
Correct.
I'm guessing that man was caught. Or
He
that
was
person
caught.
was caught.
He was caught, yes, ma'am.
Is he being prosecuted?
Yes, ma'am. He hasn't been arrested.
Okay. And one was a medical issue?
Yes, ma'am, that was a child. Yeah, that was a mistake.
Okay. Okay, and the rest were by familiar people to them,
Yes, ma'am.
and it was in homes
Yes, ma'am, or,
in that type of setting?
yeah, there might have been, I hate to go into too much detail, but maybe
Of
some poor
course.
decisions made, along the way, and some of them, we had at least 3 of them that I can think of that they never came in and followed up on it. We tried to call them over and over, and they would not, they wouldn't get back with us, so, a little bit of that too.
Was alcohol or drugs involved?
That's kind of what I was alluding to when I said, yeah, maybe some bad decisions.
Yeah, kind of figured that, okay, alcohol and drugs were involved. What about the 135 thefts? That kind of, that's kind of a big number, isn't it?
Yeah, we had one thing, well, it's not as big as it normally is. I mean, if you look back.
Yes, sir.
And the only thing that we saw a rise in with higher numbers were auto burglaries. We had quite a few auto burglaries. Something that we hadn't seen in a long time is them actually breaking into the cars, knocking the glass out. That's just hadn't been real common over the last several years. If the car's unlocked, they typically don't go into them. That's been one of the things that's, been on the increase. We had, you probably heard on the news, they've had catalytic converters stolen off these cars quite a bit, over the last year or so. So I think Beaumont caught 4 of them from Houston at one time, one night, which is great, but
Is that what they're stealing off of vehicles down here, or they're just taking things out from the inside?
typically it's a burglary of a motor vehicle.
Yeah.
Yeah, typically, but yes, we have had some incidents where they try to cut the catalytic converters out. Yeah.
What about the aggravated assault?
What about them?
Well, what does that involve?
There's a large variety of, it could be, when you're talking about aggravated assault, you're talking about they've had bodily harm done to them, they were injured, okay? And that can be, they could have been assaulted by someone's fist or by a weapon, just
Was
a
this
sundry
at
of ways.
homes or at businesses or mostly?
Typically those are homes, yeah, but we have a large variety of that. I mean, that's, a lot of different types. Drinking may be involved a lot of times, maybe family type situations, you just, a large variety of that.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions for Marshall?
I've got one, I'll put you on the spot here. So what do you do in order to reduce the amount of rapes in city. I mean, they're up significantly, but what do you do to,
Well,
other than patrolling? I mean, is there a plan? Is there something that,
again, that is the most that we've had in, quite some years, if you look down in the past. I don't know what to attribute it to. It's maybe it has to do with the people being locked down, all
what
those
do you
kind
do
of
in the
things.
future to try to, is there any plan in the future?
Other
Yeah,
than-
we talked about this last year during this.
Yeah.
report.
Yeah, and that's why I pointed out just now, a minute ago, that these, you talked about the self-defense type class.
Yes,
These weren't that type of situation. They weren't people accosted in
Right.
a supermarket parking lot or in a dark, unlit area. These were mostly,
decisions that were
friend-
made that. could have been
friends of the
prevented.
family or, like I said, why it's up, I really don't have the answer. And as far as the future goes, education is, one of the only things that we could do is, public service information, things such as that.
Have we thought about doing any kind of training or anything for citizens,
We
for
have.
female citizens in the area to do like activity building or something like that?
We have, and I spoke with Kirk Rice about it.
Mhm.
And we need to get back together about that because that was a,
Yeah, I looked into that. I'll be honest with you. I don't feel comfortable teaching a female to, do physical one-on-one with a male. That, I don't know if that's a liability issue for personally. I know that one thing, it is a huge expense, just to get started was $10,000 or $15,000 for that type class. And then, I'm gonna have to say, I would have to have somebody dedicated to do that. Or a couple of officers, so there's
I
some,
think we talked about, I'm
there's some
sorry,
hurdles to overcome, yeah.
but I think we talked about having, that you have maybe one or two female officers that have taken karate classes or those type of classes that could possibly help.
We don't have anybody like that.
You don't
but-
have anyone right now like
No,
that?
ma'am. Mm-mm.
Okay.
No. No, and again, that would be something, I guess they'd have to sign up with, our karate studio or something, that we have here in town, but we don't know, we don't have anybody. I don't know, Beaumont PD might have some people that train that. I'm not aware of anyone that does it, but
Well, Kirk Rice and I talked a lot about it last year and came up with some things, but like you said, there is an expense involved in it, but one of the things I had thought about was having a couple of meetings. I mean, we could possibly even have them in churches and for the females and the children of the city and discuss with them good decision-making and what not to do, what you could do, and then if you get in that type of situation, how to prevent something like this.
and I can explain in more detail to y'all, at a later date, what most of these particular incidents, how they occurred, give you a little better idea of what we're looking at.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Marshall on the crime report? Okay, I guess we'll go to the second one now.
All right, that 2021 racial profiling report. Most of you know we've been doing this since 2003, and I'm required to report this to our governing body every year. We've been doing it electronically since 2011. If you'll go to the back page, it consists of several pages. That's my full report. That's the report that I sent to TICO, and it's going to be much more detailed than the other two pieces of paper. This one, the full report's going to give you types of violations, whether there's a street, highway, road, gender, Was a search conducted where there's a contraband such as drugs, weapons, currency, alcohol, stolen property, was an arrest made and so forth. Again, we've never, never condoned this type of enforcement, and we don't have disproportionate number of stop searches or arrests for minorities. Racism has never been tolerated in this agency, and the Groves Police Department does not condone selective enforcement of any kind. I think if you look on the very back page, I broke it down for you. The stops, we have African, Asian, Caucasian, Hispanic, and Native American. It shows the race and the number of stops for each of those races, and what percentages those are within our stops. And in addition to that, I show the demographics of Groves versus Jefferson County. To give you an idea of, make a comparison and give you an understanding of a little bit more of about the full report. It'll just kind of help you understand a little bit more of the numbers. I think that's about it. We didn't have obviously anything that concerned me with our racial profile report whatsoever.
See, Marshall, when someone is stopped, is there generally the original police officer that stops the person, and then y'all have do you call for another officer to back them up?
Sometimes, yes, ma'am. Typically, most officers, what they'll do is, assuming that they're available, not out on the call. Historically, we've always eased that way towards them. You hear an officer check out on a car, we move that direction. Yeah, so everybody backs each other up. Yeah. In other words, they don't wait till they're called on.
They just go and see and make sure everything's safe.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions for Martha Reynolds?
Well, these reports that you have to send, this racial report that you have to send in, what do? They look at the percentages of who was stopped? Is that what
Yes,
they
ma'am.
do?
Yes, ma'am.
And then make a determination of whether or not.
Yeah, they're trying to make sure that there's not a disproportionate number of say, one minority stopped over the rest. And that was my reason for giving you the numbers, our demographics, in Jefferson County, so that you can kind of see, that we definitely don't stop, one race over another more so. Yeah. But that information is generated through our ticket writers, and of course we report that every year electronically to TCO, to Texas Commission on Law Enforcement. That's who we're required to give it to. So they have all that, and that's available online too for anybody that'd like to look it up.
Okay.
Yeah, that actual report that I gave you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Any other questions for Martha? Marshall, appreciate you. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you very much.
You bet.
Thank you. Y'all do a really good job.
Well,
Very good job.
we appreciate y'all's support too. Thank you very much.
EPO, you got anything?
Yes, sir. First off, just to fill everybody in, as of this morning, I got a date of March 7th to start installation of the back bay doors at the new fire station. And that should take about 2 to 3 days for installation, and then we can start moving in. Other than that, the building's ready to go. And then the biggest report I have for you tonight is, back about, I think it was August or, what was it, September, October, somewhere last year. I spoke to you about a grant that we received from the Firehouse Subs Public Safety Foundation of $23,160 for 3 thermal imaging cameras. We have received those, and Hayden has done all the work on all of them. And he has, we have put those into service now. It is a state-of-the-art camera. The newest ones that we had were from 2012. These are 2020 models, or 2022 models, Hayden.
Sure.
They're from 2022, and they're extremely sensitive. Not only can we get a good size up from the outside of a house of a fire by looking through that camera, we can also find our way through a house a lot quicker for a victim that might be inside. A lot of the older cameras, when you get into a hot room, they do what's called a whiteout, and it completely whites out the whole screen because it's too hot. Those, it's more tolerable of the higher temperatures for that. So it's going to be a lot safer for our guys on the inside as well. A lot quicker to get around with.
Yeah, but with the screen that y'all showed is what you're always gonna see, no matter if the lights are off, on, there's smoke. These cameras go up to 1200 degrees, so it's only gonna do this whiteout if the entire room is 1200 degrees. Usually at the ceiling, it might get that way, but down low, it's 300 to 100. So unless it was a fully, we wouldn't even be in that room to do this.
Just say if it's 1200 degrees in the entire room, we're not supposed to be in there. But it has the other one. The other good thing about this one, it has a lanyard that attaches to the firefighter's bumper gear. The other ones that we've had in the past have not had those, so they've been bulky and a little bit harder to bring around. Just a lot better camera for our firefighters.
And these also take picture and video. If you hit the trigger or hold it down, which can assist us in investigation or training, that type of thing.
Mr. Oliver, you have a question?
How many of those did y'all?
We got 3. We have 3 fire engines, so we've got 1 for each engine.
That'll show through almost any kind of wall.
No
Yes.
walls, no walls. It says it's not X-ray.
Yeah,
It just shows.
but you can see the heat.
It
Like,
won't go through.
Show me in the
it
video.
won't go through brick, but like if somebody had a wooden house, you'd be able to see through that. But like a brick wall, you would be able to see the heat signature where the brick is heated up from it. Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Beal. We're on now to citizen comments. Do I have any citizen comments tonight? Any citizen comments? All right, we'll move on. Item 7A, nope, we already did that. Item 7A, consider reappointment of the members of the Planning and Zoning Commission for a 2-year term.
Make a motion that we consider reappointment of the members of the Planning and Zoning Commission for a 2-year term.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second to consider the reappointment of the members of the Planning and Zoning Commission for a 2-year term. Do I have any questions? Let's see, current members to be reappointed are Rodney Pacetti, Chris Crane, Craig, and I'm gonna butcher that. McCoy, yeah.
Yep.
And alternates, we have Ron Hatch and alternate Michael Campy. Right now, I guess. Let's see, let me get there. I guess under questions, I'd say, you gentlemen want that position back?
Yes.
Okay, so that's, Rodney said yes.
Yes.
Chris Crane said yes, Mr. Craig said yes. And would the two alternates, would they like to be promoted to the zoning board, or this is the planning and zoning commission, right?
This is the planning and zoning commission.
So Mr. Hatch is here as well. And Mr. Kempich, y'all both would like.
Sure.
Y'all have any questions for him?
Well, I had, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Positions open.
So
There are
there's
two
two
positions.
permanent positions open, and then if you appoint the alternate to those two, then you would need to appoint two alternates in the future.
I think the alternates should stay alternates and give us an opportunity to, place others in the permanent positions. Well, it's a 2-year term. It's not actually permanent. It's a 2-year term. But if y'all don't know these gentlemen, these 3 gentlemen back here, they've done a really good job. I go to planning and zoning meetings, and they do an excellent job for the city.
The motion was made for the reappointment of the members of the planning and zoning commission for a 2-year term.
Yes.
So this would be Ronnie Passetti, Chris Crane, Craig. Cooey? Pretty close? I'll just say it real fast, that way. Nobody can really, what's going on. So do we have any questions about reappointing these 3?
No, they know their business.
Any questions? Okay, so we can vote on that motion. Mayor votes aye. Mayor Pro Tem Dugas,
Aye.
Councilmember Oliver,
Aye.
Councilmember Vincent.
Aye.
Councilmember McAdams.
Aye.
Okay. Taken care of. Checked. So I'm assuming since we didn't have a motion to appoint the alternates, council would like to investigate further if there are any other people that would like, or if they have any others. In my opinion, the alternates have shown a desire to be involved. I think I would hope that we could reward them, but if it doesn't happen today, then hopefully we could find a way to do it in the future. So at this point, we still need to appoint 2 regular members
Yes.
and or potentially 2 alternate members. Okay. Item 7B, we consider the reappointment of the members of the zoning board of adjustments for a 2-year term.
Make a motion. I make a motion that we consider reappointment of the members of the zoning board of adjustments for a 2-year term.
Have a motion and a second to consider reappointment of the members of the zoning board of adjustments for a 2-year term. Do I have any questions?
Are those gentlemen here?
No, ma'am.
Oh,
No, I'm not, I've got a question. No,
you have a question?
I'm asking the mayor. I have a question.
What would you like to ask, Mr. Bailey?
I've been coming to the council, I'm sorry, sitting in Baden, 2310 Lackey Drive, Grove, Texas. I've been coming to the council meeting for 22 years, and I've never personally met anybody from the board of adjustments. Much less than ever showing up here to announce who they are and what they do. I think it's time that we do something new. Thank you.
So these men are not here that are on the board of adjustments?
Let's see, Jerry Burnett, Philip Bridges, Jeremy Mitchell. I know Mr. Archie is an alternate. He's here. Gene Chance is here. Let's see.
Shouldn't they be here? So we can meet them?
How long has it been since we've had a Board of Adjustments meeting? Don,
We
you
had,
tell
we
me.
had, a- we had like 3 last year.
3 of these.
I can't remember the last one. But they've been pretty active since I've been here, the 3 years I've been here, they've been.
You don't have no problem with him showing up, or you give him quite a bit of notice before meeting?
Yes, sir. They're very seldom. They're all usually there now. One of them passed away. Mr. Burnett is no longer here. He passed away. So another one, and 2 of them have moved out of the area. I'm sorry, one has moved out of the area, Mr. Moe. And then Mr. Tom Clay, he said he served 20 years, and he said with other problems he has at the house, he wants to resign.
How do you contact him?
I usually just call them by phone. But when I call a meeting, I put it on email. That way we'll have a public, or not a public, but a paper trail.
Thank you.
Do you have any meetings scheduled?
Yes, actually, I only have one P and Z meeting scheduled for March 7th, and I'm waiting for the Board of Adjustment so I can bring the application that I have for them.
You have one application for the zoning board of
Yes,
adjustments.
ma'am.
Okay.
Which would require a meeting in the future.
Yes, hopefully as soon as possible, if we can get those vacancies renewed or filled.
So that gives us 2 vacancies on the full board, right?
2 vacancies on the zoning board of adjustments,
3.
and you have 2
3 vacancies?
alternate vacancies.
You said that Jerry Barnett was deceased?
No,
Yes, sir.
Oh,
He passed away.
the number 1 guy?
Jerry
Mr.
Burnett?
Jerry Burnett passed away about a month ago. And then the chairman resigned last week, and then Mr. Moe moved out of the area, so that automatically.
So you have 2 sitting members and 3 vacancies.
Yes, sir. And I have 2 alternates.
But there's supposed to be 4 alternates.
Okay, so right now we have 2 regular members on there.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Philip Bridges and Jeremy Mitchell.
Yes.
Yeah, and we need 2 more.
We need 3 more.
3 more.
But the motion was only made to reappoint the 2 that were standing, that are left.
Yes, I think the last one resigned after this was already put in on the agenda.
Yeah. Mr. Templey.
Okay, so we need 3.
Mr. Harkey, are you interested in all becoming a permanent member?
Sure,
Okay. It may not happen tonight, but
that's fine.
it's there, and we'd also need to reach out to Mr. Chase, but the motion right now is to appoint Mr. Philip Bridges and Mr. Jeremy Mitchell back to the
If I may, Mayor, Jerry Mitchell is the city engineer.
Yeah.
So just, you met him.
Yeah,
Okay. Don, Mr. Johnson, how long has Mr. Bridges been on has he been there the whole time you've been there?
The whole time, yes, all those members have been there since I've been here. That there's none of them know when they're actually appointed. And all of these.
We're gonna fix that.
Or 2, yes.
Yeah, we're gonna fix that. We've got a plan.
Thank you.
It's not public yet, but we've got a plan. We're gonna take care of that. That's coming. Any other questions for the motion we have right now, which would be to reappoint Mr. Philip Bridges and Mr. Jeremy Mitchell, which is, Mr. Bridges is a Ward 3 appointment and Jeremy Mitchell is the mayor's appointment. Any questions? Okay, being no questions, we'll vote on the motion. Mayor votes aye. Mayor Pro Tem Dugas.
aye.
Councilmember Oliver.
Aye.
Councilmember Vincent.
Aye.
Councilmember McAdams.
Aye.
Motion passes. Mr. Bridges and Mr. Mitchell will be put back onto the zoning board of adjustments. And this we will have to look at making other people permanent. Let's see, we got another one here. C, item 7C will be consider appointing members to fill the vacancies of the Planning and Zoning Commission for the 2-year term. I would ask that we table this until council can come up. Even though I have some people, I will pass those names to y'all so that y'all can do your due diligence, same for the rest of you. If you have people, particularly from your wards, we would like the most coverage possible from each individual wards. And then we can also look at in the future to fill these vacancies of the alternates who have voiced their, that would like to be back on. So
We need a motion to table.
I would like to make a motion to table. Also, I have a motion and a second to table the appointing members to the vacancy of the Planning and Zoning Commission. And then item D will be consider appointing members to fill the vacancies of the Zoning Board of Adjustments. I would ask the same for that. I'll make a motion to table that as well. So a motion and a second to table. I guess we need to vote. I didn't vote on it. Sorry. Let's go back and vote. Can we go vote on C first? My bad. I was in a hurry. I was in a group. Mayor votes aye. Mayor Pro Tem Dugas.
Aye.
Councilmember Oliver.
Aye.
Councilmember Vincent.
Aye.
Councilmember McAdams. That was the Planning and Zoning Commission. Now we'll vote on the motion to table the Zoning Board of Adjustments. Mayor votes aye. Mayor Pro Tem Dugas.
Aye.
Councilmember Oliver.
Aye.
Councilmember Vincent. Aye. Councilmember McAdams. Aye. I would like to say, those of you who have served as alternates, we appreciate your investment into the city, and I hope we can do something with that in the future. And those of you who are still on the councils, thank you for your service, and we look forward to working with y'all. Yes, sir, Mr. Campbell.
So us two alternates will remain alternates.
You're still alternates at this time until we fill the rest of the vacancies. We'll see what happens.
So if there's a meeting, and there's no, listen, I don't know when your meeting is, but our next meeting is the 14th. So Don, is your next meeting for the P and Z going to be before the 14th?
March the 7th.
Okay, so they'll have to be,
We have 3 sitting members and 2 alternates.
so they'll be active.
Mr. Campese hasn't been appointed for more than 2 years. I was here when he was appointed.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, we
So
got
he
3
can still
active
serve.
board for the P and Z, which all I need is 3 to actually make him.
And we're good.
We got 3.
Yes.
Yes, you have quorum.
a quorum.
Okay.
The Board of Adjustments, we do not have a quorum.
We'll just have to wait until we fill that position.
Yes.
No matter who it affects.
Yes.
It's me,
Stay
Bob.
strong.
It's me. It's my application.
Oh, is it yours?
Yeah.
I didn't say
It's
that.
my application. I know. I'm just gonna throw it out there, Casey. It's my application.
Just stay strong.
I have 5 people I want to appoint right now. No, I'm just kidding. All right. Item 8, city attorney. We have nothing for you tonight. Item 9, city manager invoices.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor and Council, the invoice approval list for February 28th, 2022 is as follows. Ongo Graphics and Printing, the new city park signs, $12,300. Burton Accounting PLLC, a contract work for the pre-audit, $16,950. DXI Industries Incorporated Chemicals for the water plant, $5,160. Frontier Tractor Parts and Equipment, parts to fix the yellow grade all at Public Works, $6,500. Sabine Equipment Replacement Appointment 4 at the Georgia Lift Station, $11,398.75. Vulcan Construction, A1 limestone base for street materials, $8,041.16. Wastewater Transport Services, wet haul sludge from the digester, $5,100. Wathen, DeShong and Junker LLP, city auditor for the year ending September 2021, $15,000 for a grand total of $80,449.91.
I'll make a motion to approve the invoice approval list for February 28th, 2022.
A second.
A motion and a second for the approval of the invoice list for February 28th, 2022. Are there any questions?
I have a couple, oh, Rob, did you?
Go ahead. I just had a question. The grade, we have a mechanic that can do that work?
Yes, sir. As a matter of fact, that grade was in 1998 and they don't make parts for it anymore. So we have to go find a 98 model and find good parts. And they've been doing a great job. They've kept that thing running. So, yes, sir, to answer your question, our guys can do the work.
The report for the audit,
Audit.
when is it coming out?
The report for the audit, we think we're gonna try to put it on the next agenda. Hopefully it'll be on the agenda for March 14th. That's when we plan to put it on there. Either it'll be March 14th or March 28th.
Okay.
I have one more question. The city park sign, they say when they have them ready?
They're ready now. They've already been delivered. We just in the, let me make sure. For full disclosure, we didn't know how long they were gonna take, so we ordered the one for Mr. Spikes first, paid $4,100 for it, and this is paying the rest of them, and they're all in our possession.
The street materials. We purchased this for the upcoming street program.
No, Mary, that's when we do cuts and water and sewer connections, we have to go back and put material in the streets. That's just our normal stockpile of base for doing street work day in and day out. What we're doing, most of the utilities are cutting streets here and there. We'll be cutting a street tomorrow on Main to try to fix the leak by Martin.
If I may ask, what contract work was done? For the pre-audit.
Okay, every year we bring in a company that does all the legwork and does all the getting and locating and makes it easier for the auditor to do their job. Since we don't have a big staff, every year for the last 15 years, we brought this company in and they do a pre-audit and they grab everything ready to go. So when the auditor comes in, it's quicker and it's less expensive for the auditor.
Thank you.
Any other questions under the invoice list? Any other questions? Being no questions, we'll vote on the motion. Mayor votes aye. Mayor Pro Tem Dugas.
Aye.
Councilmember Oliver.
Aye.
Councilmember Wenzel. Aye. Councilmember McAdams.
Aye.
Motion passes. Item 10 will be council member comments. Any council member comments? Yes,
Oh,
ma'am.
does somebody want to go first? Okay, did you want to go first? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you did. Okay, no, I just wanted to make sure that, everyone that has names of people they would like on these, committees, to please make sure everyone has the name and we have enough time to, investigate them or vet them, find out who they are and that kind of thing, if they meet the requirements, so that we all have the names and we're all on the same page when we come back together to vote for the people or put them in these positions.
I'd like to suggest maybe we should send them all to Mr. Sosa, let him comprise a master list, and he could send it
Sure.
out.
I
Absolutely.
can do that. Yes, sir.
You have like the Board of Adjustments, and just the planning and zoning. And can one person, be on both of those?
City attorney maybe had.
I don't know if they're prohibited, but I don't think it's a good idea.
I don't see where
They
it's
actually
prohibited.
don't really have the same role. You know, the Board of Adjustments is completely different from planning and zoning, but I don't think it's a good idea. I don't know offhand if they don't be permitted, but I wouldn't do that. I think it looks.
I didn't see anything in the charter against it. I put it that way. I didn't see anything in the charter against it. But it's a good question to ask.
Any other council member comments? I'd like to mention that, I guess Friday is gonna be Kim's last day.
Friday was.
Oh, Friday was Kim's last, that was
I
last
thought
week.
today was her
Oh.
last day.
Well,
Today
today is she had some time, but she was owed. So her last day of physically being in the office was Friday.
Oh. So
Well,
she
we would
wasn't
like
here.
to thank her for all of her work that she's done over the years for the city. And, we're so you have some big shoes to fill, but you're doing a wonderful job as well, so thank you for. all that.
Scotty, yeah, she's gonna,
She's working on
She's
it,
good
she's
at
getting
it.
there. She got it. We're not, I don't know, she hasn't quite replaced it yet. But, all right, any other comments? Being none, we'll adjourn this meeting at 5:54. Yeah.